what about some of these altcoins? Okay. We know that altcoin season, this concept altcoin season, right? Bitcoin dominance starting to come down. Altcoins are starting to come up, right? And that's why we're starting to see a lot of these movements, right? So recently, of course, you guys know a lot of these altcoins in particular have started moving, right? Really, the biggest one is XRP. And I showed this last night. And this picture kind of paints like the major movers. And every single one on this picture, they're basically all adhering to the ISO 20022 banking standard, which is like a new standard that all financial companies follow, right? So this is the reason, well, one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why I think a lot of these projects are pumping. Ripple, Stellar, Hedera, Algorand, and you have Quant, Constellation, Iota, and XDC. Now, they're not all similar, but there are some similarities. For example, some of these are on Coinbase. Some of these are US-based, okay? And some of these are part of the new Doge initiative, right? So that's why some of these have pumped harder than others. But now it seems like the whales, they are just, they're just buying whatever. They're starting to not care about some of these criteria, which is why something like Iota now has joined in on the fun. So that's something that I was not expecting because Iota is not based in the US. Iota went up almost as much as Hedera yesterday and went up 40 freaking %. So Iota now is starting to pump because, I think the whales are just starting to put two and two together. It's like, okay, Iota is adhering to the ISO 20022 standard, but it's not American based. So I don't know if that's going to hinder it going forward. It probably will to some extent, but maybe in the future with enough FOMO, it's not going to matter. But also something else that's going to hinder this, but it may change, is the fact that Iota is not listed on Coinbase, but it is listed on Binance. So that in itself is pretty good. Iota is a very, very, very old coin. It's not even a blockchain. It is a DAG. So it works a little bit differently, but you could see 24-hour performance up 47%, and it was above 50 something because it dipped this morning. So it has been on absolute tear. Okay. So Iota is like it's mimicking XRP's movement right now. And actually it's mimicking probably Hedera's movement, right? So this is the next one, I guess, that's part of the group that is definitely skyrocketing right now. So definitely another one to keep your eye on. So part of this group that's going upwards, right? And Iota, not just being part of this ISO group, but if you look at it, they're trying to get involved with RWA, and they have raised. If you look back their previous history, Iota was trying to move into EVM. They were trying to build out. They were trying to go into smart contracts. They were coming out with the test net as well. In 2021, they were trying to do some different things. So they were trying to expand. I don't know how far they went. And they have a large treasury. They did an ICO way back in the day in 2015. They raised about 1,300 Bitcoin. And I don't know how much of it they kept, but it's worth like 50 million today. So as long as they have a decent amount of it, they can survive quite some time. So Algorand is the next one to pump. A lot of people also have mentioned Quant. Quant is also part of this equation. Quant has started moving, but again, it's not American based. It's not on Coinbase, right? It has started moving, but not as much as the others. So that's another one to look at. However, there is one on here that is quite interesting. And that is DAG, Constellation. And this is one I talked about before. It's definitely the smallest one of the group right here, right under Quant. DAG is like a layer 0, so to speak, right? Now, they're not on the bigger exchanges. They're not even on Binance. They're not on Coinbase. But they are American-based. They are working with the U.S. Air Force already. So that was one of the reasons why I covered them in 2021. I thought they had potential. They're working with the U.S. Air Force already. So they're American-based, working the U.S. Air Force. They're on some big exchanges, but not all of them. And they're ISO compliant, right? So they got 2 of the 3 criteria, and they haven't really started moving yet. But, you know, they could be a candidate for a Coinbase listing. So if they get a Coinbase listing, I think DAG could really start moving too. And then XDC is another one. XDC is kind of like an off outlier. They're not on Coinbase. They're not US based. They haven't really started moving. They have moved a little bit. So that's kind of looking into all these things. So yeah, Iota is definitely moving hard right now. And you know what? We'll see if that run continues. If you're looking at market cap, right? Iota is about 1.7 billion. Quant is about that 1.7 billion. So they are definitely the cheaper plays. Algorand is about 4 billion. So they're much cheaper than Hedera and Stellar and Ripple at this point. Constellation is definitely the cheapest one of all, or the lowest cost. I shouldn't say cheaper, but the lowest market cap. XDC I haven't really looked into. So, yeah. Oh, and Cardano. Cardano's not even on here, but Cardano is also ISO compliant. I don't know why Cardano's not on this. And you know what also is not on here? Chainlink. Chainlink is also ISO compliant. And that's another reason why Chainlink also have started moving too. It does seem like there's a big push for ISO coins going forward.